What's up, Zox fam? We're back with some more Etheria Restart. Now, we're going to be getting into a character overview of the Infinite Trojan Fangus. This is definitely one of my favorite units in the game, considering that he is a huge component to DOT-oriented comps. Now, I would definitely say that what he's bringing to the table, looking at the skill 1, which is the Viral Infection. Fangus shoots virus-infected bullets at a single enemy, dealing 280% damage with a 60% chance to inflict one stack of 1 turn of DOT. Now, of course, him having this in a skill 1 is going to actually be a good strategy to maybe try to amplify and maybe getting him to have a gear set or modules that help him either pursue or retaliate with his skill 1, because it's just going to give him more opportunities to be able to proc his DOT, which ultimately, when the turn starts, takes indirect true damage equal to 4% of max HP. Now, of course, he comes with a passive called Contamination, where Fangus recklessly spreads viruses. After other allies cast damage skills, there's a 50% chance for Fangus to assist. So again, like I was mentioning with the skill 1, you can further amplify what he already has innately, and that's just going to ultimately make it to where you're just basically going to have as many DOTs as you possibly can get stacked onto an opponent there. Now, when we get to the skill 3, the Contagion Outburst, Fangus shoots powerful virus bullets to cause chain explosions, dealing 250 damage or 50% damage to all enemies with a 75% chance to inflict 1 stack of 2 turns of DOT and a speed down. Now, the thing that's actually really important about this and why the speed down matters is because this gives him more able opportunity to put as many dots on you as possible. This is also, like I mentioned, in conjunction, which typically I would recommend with most dotters, they usually want to be paired up with someone else. So whether it be dot detonator or another person that's able to apply dot, just so that you can have as many dots as you possibly can as quickly as you can. This is definitely even more of a reason just to give you able opportunity if you aren't necessarily the fastest in rotations, so that you can land those dots, because that's going to be a huge source of the overall damage, especially for a character like Fangus. Now, as far as module recommendations, I would definitely say starting out, you're going to have things like, for example, the Swift Rush that you can take advantage of. With the Swift Rush on a 12 matrix bonus, giving you a speed value increase of 35%. This is really good just for your overall rotations. You'll have things like the Onslaught that you can also take advantage of if you want the actual impact of the hits to do more damage, which will give you on a 12 matrix bonus an attack increase of 45%. Now, if you want him to stay alive as much as possible in the early game, but also allowing him to be effective with maybe some DOT action, you definitely can throw in some Wellspring, and you don't have to go all the way to a 12 matrix bonus, but just for video's sake, it's at a HP increase of 45%. And then you can also take advantage of things like Unbreakable if you're realizing you need a little bit of that variation, which is going to be giving you on a 12 matrix bonus a defense increase of 45%. Now, other than that, typically you can try to aim for HP and defense and subs, but that's just kind of up to you and what you might have at that given moment. Now, as far as some of the main sets that I would definitely recommend, Battle Will would be definitely a top one. So it gives it an attack increase of 10%. And after the Animus uses an attack skill, there's a 20% chance to pursue the main target. Now, you also have sets like Bramble that you can take advantage of, which gives you a defense increase of 10%. And the Animus has a 25% chance to counterattack with a basic attack when hit. Keep in mind, both of these abilities or both of these module sets are going to be enabling the skill 1, which is just even more opportunity for you to be able to proc more DOTs. Now, on top of that, you can also take advantage of things like the Swift Raid if you want to go for more damage scaling, which is going to be giving you a speed increase of 15% and an attack increase of 20%. But if you're looking for a little bit more accuracy, because maybe you're short on it, then you can obviously go for things like Swift Smite, which is going to be giving you a speed increase of 15%, but an effect accuracy increase of 20%. Now, when we're also looking at the main stat and substats that you want to aim for, I definitely say things like crit rate, HP, and effect accuracy are going to be some pretty big ones. And this is just simply because, again, you want your debuffs to be landing. You definitely want to sustain a character like Fangus as much as you possibly can, because, again, he definitely can be on a fairly squishier side if you don't actually build him for having necessary bulk. And then, of course, the crit rate is just to ensure that your innate base hits are also adding extra damage. So keep in mind, you deal damage with the base hit, but your overall damage is coming from the DOT. So yes, he can still do pretty solid damage even with the insane amounts of follow-ups, and that damage also adds up as well. Now, of course, as far as substats, I would definitely say things like, for example, effect accuracy. You definitely can aim for things like speed, crit rate, and maybe even a little bit of crit damage if you have enough of the stat values that you need in the other areas. And then I would definitely say, if not, then if you want more sustain, definitely go for more HP so that you can try to keep him alive as much and for as long as possible. Now, as far as skill prioritization, starting out with the skill 2, in the first node, it increases the chance of follow-up attack to 30%. Then in the next node, it goes up to 35%. The node after that, it goes up to 40%, and the final node will increase it to 50%. Then we'll be looking at the skill 1, where in the first node, it increases the damage multiplier to 260%. The next node will increase the chances of inflicting dot to 40%. Then one after that will increase the damage multiplier to 280%. And then lastly, it will increase the chances of inflicting dot to 60%. And then from there, we'll have the skill 3 up last, which in the first node increases damage multiplier to 230%. The second node increases the chances of inflicting dot and speed down to 75%. Then in the third node, it increases the damage multiplier to 250%. And then lastly, it will reduce the skill cooldown by 1 turn. Recommendations, I would definitely say Shadowrunner is going to have the Unbridled Science, Star, Black Flag, Twilight Knight, Shanghai Jing, White Fang, Gigabyte. For more PvE oriented things, Alicorn, one that's going to be of high value is going to be the Golden Lion. Now, of course, getting into our infamous pros and cons, I think one of the biggest pros to Fangus is that he can become one of the highest DOT outputters in the game. Yes, as an SR. And I think the other nice thing about him is that he also can be built with damage. So this is going to allow him to not only be effective in hitting pretty hard, but also then being able to deal a fair amount of DOT damage, which is based off of his opponent's HP. I think one of the safest bets, though, is to build him into more bulk for more higher end or just longer form content so that you could be able to work down your opponents with DOT no matter what, especially if you're pairing him up with someone else. I think the other thing that also makes him pretty insane is the fact that he's able to also follow up passively. And this is something that even if you decided to not build into module sets that allow him to be able to get extra turns with his skill 1, you still would be able to have that be an effect that he's able to take advantage of. Now, of course, his biggest con, just like any DOTer, is in content where DOT is basically nullified. If DOT doesn't land, then that basically mitigates all of his kit. And that kind of renders him pretty useless in comparison to a lot of other characters. So as amazing as Fangus can be, there are going to be some situations where he just isn't going to be an optimal choice. But nonetheless, this is still an amazing unit that's even utilized in things for speed clearing dungeons, especially all the way up into things like Cataclysm and even so on and so forth. So that's just kind of some food for thought. So with all of that being said, that's basically going to be that on the Infinite Trojan Fangus. I hope that this was able to give you a little bit more insight on how this Animus works and, of course, how you might be able to utilize them in your composition. But that's basically going to be that with this one, guys. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more amazing Etheria Restart content just like this. But that's going to be that, guys. Everyone, stay blessed, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.